All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to look at something a little different. We're not just talking about facts, we're talking about how those facts get turned into stories. We're going to pull on this one single kind of strange thread and see what it tells us about pretty much everything.
So our story starts in a place you would probably never expect. The United States Code. Yeah, the official book of federal laws. It's usually about as dry as it gets. But just listen to how one source describes a specific food safety law.
A tapestry? A regal secretary with a scepter of power? I mean, come on. This is a law about emergency food permits. But the language, it sounds more like they're describing a king being crowned, not a piece of government regulation. Just hang on to that thought for a second.
Okay, let's do a complete 180. We're jumping from the world of law and diving into something that feels worlds away. The tiny, microscopic universe of human genetics.
Whoa, did you hear it? There it is again, tapestry. This time, it's talking about the APOC2 gene, which is a little piece of DNA that helps your body manage fat. But look how it's described. It's a jewel, a maestro, conducting a symphony. It's so dramatic, so poetic, and so weirdly familiar.
So, here's our puzzle, right? On one side, you've got a law about food processing. On the other, a gene that deals with fat metabolism. They have literally nothing in common, except for this incredibly grand, almost mythical way that they're both described. So what on earth is going on here?
You might be thinking, okay, that's a funny coincidence. But what if it's not a coincidence at all? What if these two totally random examples are actually part of a much bigger pattern?
Yeah, once you start looking for this way of talking, of turning plain information into some kind of epic story, you start to see it absolutely everywhere. And our sources just kept pointing it out over and over again.
Check this out. This is describing Cold War espionage. It's not just gathering intelligence. No, it's a dark tapestry, a dangerous tango. This language turns covert ops into this huge, dramatic performance on the world stage.
Now, this is what gets really fascinating. You can even find this pattern in something as abstract and, let's be honest, kind of dry as a numeral system. But here, they're not just numbers. They're a tapestry of wisdom, a symphony of values. It gives pure math this almost spiritual, artistic feel.
And it's not just for big, impersonal topics. The pattern shows up in these deeply personal stories too. Here, a father's memories aren't just thoughts. They're a tapestry of trust and friendship. It makes a personal struggle feel somehow bigger, more profound.
And well, of course, we find it here in descriptions of religious texts. This is where human stories are literally woven into the eternal tapestry of existence. This isn't just telling a story, it's connecting our small lives to some grand, divine narrative.
Okay, so we've seen this tapestry idea pop up at law, in science, in spycraft, in math, and in our most personal stories. So the question isn't really if there's a connection anymore. The question is, what is it? It's time to solve this thing.
And here's the big reveal. The thing that connects all of these isn't what they are. It has nothing to do with the law or the gene. The connection is how they're being presented to us. It's not about the information, it's about the story that's being used to carry it. And there's a name for that.
Let's call it mythologizing information. It's this process of taking the bare facts, a law, a gene, a number, and wrapping them up in a story. You give them heroes, villains, high stakes, a sense of destiny. You're basically turning plain old information into a myth.
So why do we do this? What's the point of describing a food law like it's a scene out of a fantasy epic? Well, it turns out this is a really powerful tool, and it has two very, very different sides.
On the one hand, mythologizing can make things way easier to understand. You take something like an ancient Nazirite vow. As just a list of rules, it's pretty abstract. But when you frame it as a powerful story of human devotion, suddenly it clicks. It's memorable. But, and this is a big but, there's a real risk. That exact same technique can be used to twist the truth. When a completely fictional story about some unseen genius is written with the serious tone of an intelligence report, it can make a made-up character sound like a real threat. It totally blurs that line between what's real and what's not.
And that double-edged sword is exactly why getting a handle on this is so important. Because this storytelling engine, it's not just hiding in old texts or obscure government documents.
No, it is running all around us, all the time, in places you might not even realize. It's one of the fundamental ways we make sense of the world, for better or for worse.
Just think about it. A marketing campaign doesn't sell you a phone, it sells you a tool to change the world. A politician isn't just running for office, they're on a historic quest to heal the nation. A news story isn't just facts, it has heroes and villains. We even do it to ourselves, right? We talk about our careers or our relationships as this grand, epic journey.
Now, the goal here isn't to say that telling stories is good or bad. It's just what we do. The point is to give you a new kind of lens to look through. Once you learn to spot when facts are being mythologized, once you see the tapestry, you can start asking the really crucial questions. Who is weaving this particular story? And why are they doing it this way?
And really, that's what it all comes down to. It encourages us to be a little more critical about the information we consume and maybe even the information we create. So the next time you hear one of those big, sweeping stories, just take a second, look for the threads, and ask yourself, what are the plain facts here? And what is the story being wrapped around them? Because believe me, understanding that difference, it changes everything.